Order in Skokie and Northwest Evanston. The boil order was lifted for Evanston on Saturday. Stay with 91.5 WBEZ for all the latest around the region. Marketplace Morning Report is coming up next.
How insecurity can worsen inequality.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
For Marketplace, I'm Nova Safo in for David Brancaccio. A key theme in American life right now is uncertainty, whether that has to do with the rising cost of living, the flurry of actions by the Trump administration, or even costly natural disasters. All of this adds up to uncertainty, and it has Americans on edge. In fact, the latest University of Michigan survey of consumers finds sentiment down significantly across ideological lines. And Alyssa Quart, executive director at the nonprofit Economic Hardship Reporting Project, says pervasive uncertainty can pave the way for deeper inequality. She has a new piece in Time magazine titled How Insecurity Became the New Inequality. She spoke with David Brancaccio.
People in, for instance, North Carolina or California out searching for rentals because their house was destroyed in a disaster, they don't feel less secure. They are, in terrible ways, actually less secure. When policies change with this new presidential administration, some may feel more secure, others less. But you, Alyssa, you think insecurity like this leads to inequality, widening the gap between rich and poor?
It's not just a gap between haves and have-nots, but it's those who can't absorb the blows of things like the LA fires or the mudslides in Kentucky and so on and so forth, and middle-class people who can't keep up with inflation or the tariffs that will rise our prices. So this is insecurity as much as it is inequality, and they're inextricably linked.
No, I mean, I think there's a lot of logic in this. Insecurity can be seen as like a reverse indicator for well-being, right? You can track insecurity, and when it goes up, it's not something that you want or that society wants.
Right. Insecurity has become an indicator that scholars now assess societal well-being. There's the Economic Policy Uncertainty Index. They talk about uncertainty shocks that create economic disorders. So the example they used was Brexit. So this preceded our current period.
When the lowest income people feel insecurity, it is a terrible thing. But part of the point that you're trying to make is that this, I mean, I never like the word precarity, but this insecurity is being felt not just among the lowest income people.
Yeah, it was an abrupt precarity in relation to the pandemic. For a lot of the poorer Americans, remember that we had the American Rescue Plan, expanded child tax credit that reduced child poverty tremendously. Then you also had this growing middle class precarity, which I actually have been writing about since 2018. I wrote a book called Squeezed, where I called it the middle precariat. That's middle class plus precarious plus proletariat. So I see this as kind of a form potentially of solidarity between people who are upper middle class, and lower income, this insecurity. And it's something that was mentioned by Astra Taylor in a great book called Age of Insecurity, where she saw that not just as a bane, but a potential way forward if we could start thinking of ourselves in those terms.
Alyssa Quart, executive director at the Economic Hardship Reporting Project. She has a piece in Time magazine entitled How Insecurity Became the New Inequality. Alyssa, thank you.
Oh, thank you, David.
And that was David Brancaccio with that interview. Numbers, Wall Street is closed in observance of President's Day. So far this year, though, stocks are in positive territory with the major indexes up somewhere between 3 and 5%. A different story for the benchmark 10-year Treasury yield, which helps set consumer interest rates. It's back to where it was at the beginning of the year, hovering around 4.5%. This has been especially consequential for the real estate market, where mortgage rates are averaging between 6 and 7%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Clear Channel Outdoor, offering a nationwide network of billboards and data solutions that help businesses build brand awareness and influence consumer behavior. Billboardsforbusiness.com. And by Bitwarden. Digital fitness can be accessible for anyone in the new year with a password manager designed to secure logins across all accounts and devices. Bitwarden.com.
The last two presidents made it a priority to secure a sufficient supply of critical minerals, which come from the ground you walk on. But the Trump administration is considering a different source, the ocean floor. Deep sea mining remains controversial and has yet to be approved in either federal waters or international ones. But as Marketplace's Daniel Ackerman reports, the mining industry sees opportunity.
As president, Joe Biden pushed the U.S. to get its minerals from places other than China. But when it came to the bottom of the ocean,
the Biden administration was officially on the fence, but really not wanting to do anything with deep sea mining.
Oliver Gunasekara is CEO of Impossible Metals, which hopes to harvest potato-shaped hunks of metal from the Pacific. And he says the Trump administration views the Department of Interior
like a balance sheet and an opportunity to extract oil and gas and critical minerals. And they've been talking very much about the seabed.
The shift in policy is a welcome one for the fledgling industry, which aims to start mining the seafloor in the coming years.
For us, America First is good news.
Jared Barron is CEO of the Metals Company, which is also eyeing the Pacific.
As America became energy independent with the advent of shale, it can become mineral independent with this resource 1,000 miles southwest of San Diego.
But that could pose a risk to the health of the ocean, says Beth Orcutt, VP for Research at Bigelow Laboratory for Ocean Sciences. Well, mining companies have developed some ways to clean up after themselves on land, like reforestation or water treatment.
There's no evidence that you can do that in the deep sea, so the disruption may be permanent, at least on human life scales.
There are also financial concerns. Two of the main metals available on the ocean floor are nickel and cobalt. Those have been key parts of electric car batteries, says Victor Vescovo, CEO of Caledon Capital. But today,
there's been some major advancements in battery technology, the biggest being lithium iron phosphate.
Those materials now make up most EV batteries sold in China, the world's largest market. And Vescovo says you can't really find them on the ocean floor.
So deep sea mining is an extremely difficult solution to a battery metal problem that existed 10 years ago.
Still, the U.S. Geological Survey deems nickel, cobalt, and other potential seabed resources as critical to the economy and national security. And the mining industry sees the next 4 years as its chance to go to sea and get them. I'm Daniel Ackerman for Marketplace.
And I'm Nova Safo with a Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.